Hello everyone, my name is Marcos. I'm training manager and sales manager at Kojali USA. I would like to welcome you all to a new edition of JALTEST webinars. In the season of today, we are going to go through one of the most helpful functionalities that we're going to find in JALTEST Diagnostics. We're going to see how JALTEST can be very helpful in those cases in which the road assistance is needed. Before starting, I would like you to know that you have a chat window available so that you can write your questions or comments during the webinar. My colleagues Isidro and Bruno will be there supporting me with the answers. Or if you prefer, you can also send us an email with your questions or comments at customersupport@jaltest.com, customersupport@jaltest.com. Someone in the chat, please just write that you can hear me well, just to confirm that everything is all right. Hello, hello. I'm supposed to be unmuted, so you should be hearing to me. All right, perfect, perfect. That's great. All right, so I told you already how to reach us. You can go through the chat, or you can send us an email at customersupport@jaltest.com. And other than that, and in order to be up to date of everything which is new in JALTEST, like news, training material, software updates, etc., make sure to visit our website, kojaliusa.com, and to follow us in our social media like Facebook and LinkedIn. We are preparing a lot of material, a lot of content, training material like webinars, vlogs, case studies, and so on. Actually, today is the first webinar of this season of content. So just double check our website, be up to date in our social media so that you can access to all this content. Also letting you know that this webinar will be recorded and then of course uploaded to our YouTube channel so that you can watch it and enjoy it at any time in future. And that's it. All right, guys. So let's move now to see our agenda that we have prepared for today. Just 1 second. It's going to be this one. All right, so these are going to be the two functionalities that we will be covering. First of all, the manual diagnostics, and then the troubleshooting by symptoms. Both of them are, of course, included in the JALTEST software. And actually, the troubleshooting by symptoms will be within the Info Online module. Okay, we will talk a little bit about it later on. So first of all, I think it is important to clarify what the manual diagnostics means. We're talking about a process or functionality that will allow us to diagnose a fault code without having the vehicle present. This is going to be obviously very important during the road assistance. So, but there are some notes that I would like you to keep in mind regarding the manual diagnostics. So first of all, it is very important to note that the way in which those blink codes are displayed in the vehicles will differ for each system and for each manufacturer. Even within the same manufacturer, we can find different variants. Later, we will see a few practical examples of these different ways of communicating a code and how to read them. Then second, the utility. When it comes to the utility of the manual diagnostics, probably the main one is the one that actually is giving the name to this webinar, the road assistance. And how is the manual diagnostics going to help us on the road assistance? All right, so let's imagine the following situation. All right, so we're driving our truck, and suddenly, because things happen, we get stuck on the road in the middle of nowhere and miles away from the nearest shop repair. Our truck engine doesn't start, and then we got a fault code in the dash. So through the manual diagnostics, we can get that fault code, and we can call the workshop in which they have JALTEST. And then in the workshop, any of the mechanics will go to the JALTEST software and look for the meaning of this fault code so that the mechanic can figure out how to repair by following the steps of the troubleshooting associated to that fault code. With this value information, they will be ready to send the service truck to repair the truck and then rescue the driver. So road assistance support is going to be probably the main utility of the manual diagnostics. However, it is not going to be the only one because, for example, manual diagnostics could be also used for training purposes, since it allows to learn how to repair fault code without having to be physically connected to the vehicle. So for all these institutions providing learning about mechanics, so can be also a good way to use it. Third, also note that the manual diagnostics will never or almost never be the same as the electronic diagnostics, which you also have in JALTEST, of course. Not all the diagnostic codes have their correspondence in electronic diagnostics, but all the way around. All the electronic fault codes have their correspondence in manual diagnostics. All right. Then number 4. The manual diagnostics, in many cases, will not be as accurate as the electronic one. For example, the manual diagnostics will tell us the affected component, but it will not tell us the reason of the problem. All right. And then finally, we must remember that not all the electronic systems are going to be supported. Not all the systems are going to support the manual diagnostic option. This will depend on the manufacturer, right? So if you remember, I have just mentioned that the way in which the blink codes are visible or displayed could be very different depending on the system or the manufacturer. So right now, I'm gonna go over the most frequent ones. However, keep in mind that more different ways can be found out there. So the first of the ways that we're going to find for these blinking codes is going to be the sequence through a lamp, which could be the warning lamp or the ABS lamp or any other. And this way is very common in brakes systems for both tractor and trailer, as well as for Cummins or Caterpillar systems. All right, sorry about it. Okay, let's go to the second one, which is going to be the code displayed through the instrument cluster. And this type is becoming a current trend in the last times, and this is very common in Freightliner, and Volvo, and Mack, and others. Here you have some examples in the picture. So you're going to see it. Then we can also find these blinking codes through the gear selector. It could be either with a code number displayed or through blinking sequences. This one is going to be very common in Eaton or Allison transmission systems. Okay, so let's jump now into the JALTEST software so that we can see some examples for each of them and also explain step by step how to find the manual diagnostics option within the program. But before that, we're going to launch a very quick question related to the manual diagnostics. So my colleague Bruno is going to open right now the poll. So please, Bruno, whenever you're ready, I think you can send it while I'm sharing this. All right. I think the poll is already open. So the question is, have you ever gone on a service call that you could have avoided if you could have diagnosed it manually? All right, so please take a few seconds to answer. All right, we're already collecting responses. All right, well, still some people remaining. We have the 58% of the people already voted. All right, 67, come on guys, you can do it. All right, perfect. So we got the results, and as you can see, 75% of the answers said yes. Sometimes they could have avoided this service call in case of having the manual diagnostic option available. Okay, so this is going to be, as I said before, one of the most important things. Or the most important utilities in JALTEST, okay, for the manual diagnostics, and it's going to help you to save probably some money and some time on the systems. I'm going to share right now with you the software, so just give me a few seconds so that I'm going to switch. We can go to JALTEST. There it is. I think you should be already watching my screen, the JALTEST. All right. If not, just comment it into the chat. We will adjust it, but it should be all right. Okay. Perfect. So first of all, we're going to see an example of a sequence through a lamp and how we access to the manual diagnostics. So first of all, we will need to go to manual. We are already in manual. Probably whenever you open JALTEST, you will be in auto, depending on your preferences. But in order to get to the manual diagnostics, we'll go to manual and then manufacturers. Here in manufacturers, we just need to select the manufacturer of our system. In this case, just to show you the sequence through a lamp option, I will show you the one Bendix, one ABS system in a tractor. All right. So you will select your system, and here basically you just need to go here to manual diagnostics. All right. So you will click over there, and just for example purposes, I will show you the EC80 anti-lock braking system. So once you have it selected, here on the top, you will see this button, See Info. All right? So you will click on it, and we're going to access to the actual procedure of the manual diagnostics, to the instructions about how to read the fault codes, the active fault codes, and the non-active fault codes, and how to reset them. So we just need to read. As you can see here, the visualization of the blinking sequence is only possible after the ignition is on and the vehicle stopped. So there are some initial conditions that we need to take into account. So that's important to respect them in order to see all the fault codes. And then in this case, we can see that the blinking code sequence is going to be through the ABS warning lamp. Okay. All right. Then also we can see some differences in the procedure for active fault codes and non-active stored fault codes. So if we want to see the active ones, we need to press the diagnosis switch once, okay? And then after the activation, there will be a 3 seconds delay followed by a blinking sequence. And then for the non-active, we need to press the diagnosis switch twice, okay? So once in the active and twice in the non-active. All right, so here basically you just need to follow the instructions in order to get all the fault codes and to understand the sequence. So basically you will have something like that. So this is graphically the way that the codes will be blinking. Okay, so let's imagine that, for instance, we are having a sequence of 2 lights, then some space of time, and then 1 light. So that means that our code will be 02 and then 01. So 2 space 1, so it will be 0201. So that will be our code. We will put it here and we will click insert. And we access to the troubleshooting, to the help for this fault code, okay? So first of all, we're gonna find help and components of the fault, and we're gonna see which are the components that are related to the fault. In this case, we have the fault code description here, which is the wheel sensor ABS axle 1 left. It's giving us this error, and this is gonna be the component related, the wheel speed sensor, front axle, left side. Okay, not only that, but also we can see more information about the component. So we click here, and we find a real picture of the component itself, so that you can see how it looks like. Also, you have the location, right? And some operational values, like for instance, we have the pinout, like the pin 1 is going to be for the speed signal, and the pin 2 is going to be the ground. We have the sensor resistance values, right? The output signal voltages. Even if you want to remove or you want to reinstall the component, here you have the component replacement guide, all right? So you don't need to go anywhere else. You don't need to exit the software. Everything is very well integrated. So you just click on here and you will access to that specific troubleshooting. All right, it's going to be a step-by-step procedure that will explain you how to go through the removal or through the installation. Even if you want to check the measurements of this particular sensor, you just need to click on here and JALTEST will show it to you. All right. So we have the components related, we can see more information about it, and we can actually even go to the wiring diagram and see how it is connected to the electricals on the wiring, okay? I will show you some example in a different case in a few moments. Also, you have the fault code troubleshooting so that you can go through this problem solving, all right? So as you can see, we just needed to somehow read the sequence, get the fault code, introduce it here, and then access to the information that is going to help you to troubleshoot and solve the problem. All right. I'm going to get back to the main screen of the software so that we can go through the second of the examples. Right now, I'm going to show you the example for the codes that are displayed through the instrument cluster. Okay, and I'm going to repeat the sequence so that you can understand well how we can reach the manual diagnostics. Again, very easy, manual, and then manufacturers. All right, so in this case, for this example, we're going to be using a Packard engine. All right, so we can filter here by brand, by the way, so just make sure that you use all these search options, search buttons across the software, because they're really useful and will save you a lot of time. So we have filtered by Packard, and then our engine is going to be an MX engine. All right, it's going to be, let's say, the 13. We're going to go to this one. All right, manual diagnosis, first of all. All right, manual diagnosis, and then the EPA 13 GHD 14. All right, so once we have it selected, again, we just need to click on See Info. All right, and we will access to the diagnostic procedure. Here you're going to find some more detailed information, and actually for this one, the PDF document is telling us that depending on the vehicle, the reading of the fault codes could be performed according to one of two types of procedures explained below. So there are two possibilities. All right. So here you have the option 1, and then you have below the option 2. All right. So on the option 1, even we can see some more detailed information about the location of the controls for navigating through the instrument cluster. Okay, here we can see that they can also, the location can also be different depending on the model of the vehicle. All right, but basically in the instrument cluster you will be seeing something like that. So you have the fault code, as you can see here. All right, I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger so you can see there it is. So you will have the SPN 641 and then the FMI 12. Okay, so if you scroll down on the document, you can see how to use this code, in which format you need to introduce it here. Okay, so the format of the fault code must be entered is SPN FMI. So you can see it's 641 12, so 641 and then 12. All right, very easy. We click on search, and there we are. So first of all, we can see the description of the fault code, which is going to be the BGT actuator, the learning process fault. Okay, we have the description, then we have the component related to the fault. In this case, it's going to be the BGT actuator. As we did before, we can see more information about the component. All right, so we can see the location. All right, there it is. I mean, you can see how it is, sorry, the real picture, and then the location is going to be here. And actually for the location, as you can see, you can go to the different engine configurations. So in this case, we said before that we were working in the MX13, so we'll click here and we will see where the component or the sensor is located in each case. Okay. If we scroll down, we will have more operational values information. Like for instance, the resistance value between pins 3 and 4, how much it is, okay, the pins information, also the timing torques information, and the removal and installation procedure, as we have seen before in the previous example. So here we have all this troubleshooting, especially for every action, okay, and also the measurements, just in case you want to take a look. Before, we didn't see the wiring diagram. I'm going to show it to you right now. All right. So in this case, we need to select the diagram configuration. We're working in the MX13, so we'll click on it and we will open the wiring diagram. All right, all the wiring diagrams that you're going to find in JALTEST, they're going to be dynamic, they're going to be in PDF format. And when I say that they are dynamic, is because you can play with them, you can navigate them, you can look for sensors, look for components, you can go back and forward to the different pages and so on using these buttons on the right. So here basically you can see that the BGT actuator is already highlighted. All right, if you hover over the mouse, you can even see the real picture, and you can see how it is connected to the wiring. So for instance, if you want to take a look to the pins in which the CAN8 and CAN-L wiring are connected, if you realize we are talking about the C socket, okay, DCM. So we will double click on DCM in the pins 90 and 92. They are the ones that we want to look for. And here we have the information for the different sockets and the pins location. Okay, so this is our socket, the pin, the C, and we were looking for the 90 and 92. As you can see, 92 and 90. And this information is very valuable. It's just because, as you know, all the different manufacturers are locating the pins in the sockets in a different way. So, and then over the time, these numbers written on the sockets are not visible anymore. So having this information will save you a lot of time when looking for the pins. All right. We go back by clicking on the diagnostics menu, and also we have the fault code troubleshooting. All right. So let's say that we want to troubleshoot this problem. On the distance, as I said before, we are not connected to the vehicle. We are just on the distance. We're in our shop. We are checking how to troubleshoot and to see what is needed. Okay, so here we have a step-by-step procedure, very easy to follow. Step 1, check the component operation. If we expand, we can read more detailed information. So check the resistance and the supply voltage of the component, as well as the wiring towards the control unit. Verify the state of the corresponding electrical connections. The connectors must be in a good state, without corrosion, of course, and or visible damage. And then this step is asking you to perform this test, the turbocharger actuator state. And you just need to click on it, and you don't go anywhere else. As I said before, all the actions, all the tests, all the measurements display are going to be integrated on the troubleshooting, so you can easily perform all the actions. And then step 2, with a diagnostic tool, check the measurements provided by the control unit. Okay, there it is. You can check the measurements over there. All right. Check the control unit. Okay, again, check the state of the connector pins. There must be no corrosion. Okay, verify the continuity, and so on and so on. So you can check these boxes here so that you can track your progress and you know at any time at which step you were working. Okay, you see, perfect. So basically, and then the fourth step is going to be the clear fault codes and the verification that the problem has been solved. Okay, so there's going to be the troubleshooting for this particular fault code on the Packard. Again, I'm going to go back to the main screen of the software to show you the last example of the ways in which the blinking sequence could be displayed. The third option is going to be through the gear selector. This is going to be very common on transmissions in Eaton and Allison, as we said before. So again, we're in the manual option, manufacturer, And then we'll go to Eton this time. All right, Eton transmissions. All right, and then manual diagnosis, and we're going to be using the Gen 3. All right, so there it is, and then see info. It's the same process all the time, regardless of the manufacturer, regardless of the system. As you can see, the logic is very consistent and it's going to be always the same. All right, so it's very, very easy to learn. In this case, we can see the procedure again. In this case, the blinking sequence is going to be on the service button. So we're going to see the lights over there. So we're going to find something like that. Okay, so we're going to find 1, 2, 3, 4 blinking lights, and then a space of a couple of seconds, and then the second sequence. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means that the fault code that we're looking for is the 45. All right, so we just need to come here, or well, follow the instructions here and see how interpret the fault code. So it's going to be the 45 in this case. Look for search, and in this case we have the gearbox transmission inertia brake actuator. As you can see, even we have extra information in this case, like some possible causes, all right? Inertia brake actuator or transmission electronic control unit. The components related to the fault, in this case, is going to be the inertia brake actuator, and again, information about the component, wiring diagram, and fault code troubleshooting. All right. All right. So we have seen some examples. As you can see, this is the way that the manual diagnostics is going to help you on the distance, on the road assistance. Once the mechanic has all this information, they're ready to send the service truck to support the driver to rescue, and you will be saving a lot of time and probably also money with this functionality. All right, so once we have covered the manual diagnostics, we're going to go over the second part of the webinar, which is the troubleshooting by symptoms. But before going further, we're going to launch another quick poll to know a little bit more about your experience regarding the road assistance situations. So please, Bruno, go ahead with the second of the questions. All right. There she is. You have some seconds to answer, guys. In this case, the question is going to be, have you ever experienced roadside assistance situations in which you had not fault codes and no way of troubleshooting? All right, 70% already voted. A few more seconds. Ooh, this one is closed. All right, let's wait a little bit more. So the last one, guys. All right, we're almost done. Okay, so we already closed the poll, so we have like a 50-50, okay? So probably some of you have faced this situation, some others not. The half of you answered that yes, the other half not. But for those that you answered yes, as you know, many times we'll have mechanical problems in our truck that are not detected by the electronic control units, and therefore there won't be any DTC or warning lights on. In these situations, you might think, okay, great, I'm now on my own, I am alone in the middle of the darkness and I don't know how to do. All right, so don't worry, because you are not alone. JALTEST offers a troubleshooting by symptoms functionality that is going to guide us towards a diagnosis process with searchable symptoms and step-by-step guided procedures for the repair. Okay, so this troubleshooting by symptoms, I will show you how to reach it on the software, and for that we're gonna see some real cases or some practical examples. So the first one, so let's imagine that our truck has a Detroit diesel engine, like for example, a DB13. So once again, we're gonna need to go to manufacturers from the main screen, and then Detroit diesel, all right? And then we said before it's gonna be a DB13. We're gonna be using this one. All right, just 1 second. We are gonna be using the ACM 2.1. In this case, this is gonna be our engine. So we will come to the system selection. We will select our engine, right? And then here on the left, we have this option, troubleshooting by symptoms. We are not even connected to the vehicle. Just remind that we can assist on the distance. So we click here. All right. So as I said before, so let's imagine that we're working in this Detroit diesel engine, okay? And for some reason, we're not able to complete a DPF parked region, okay? And we don't have any electronic fault code on the gas, all right? So here, basically, we have different possible symptoms, okay? So the one that we're looking for is we're unable to complete a parked DPF region, all right? So we'll click on it. And basically here on the right, what you're gonna see is different steps or different possible causes, and it's information that is gonna guide you to find the cause of the problem, okay? So the first one, the first step is gonna be to check whether the following faults are registered in the memory of the control unit, and if so, we need to clear them first, okay? So we have different possible fault codes that could be active, like a particulate filter, temperature sensor of the exhaust gases could be too high. Also, the DOC outlet temperature could be high, and so on and so on. So for each of them, if you expand, you will find the specific troubleshooting for these fault codes, okay? So this is important to have it here integrated as well, all right? Then step 2, barometric pressure, okay? With a diagnostic tool, check the measurements provided by the control unit, and we need to check the range of allowable values, okay? So the pressure is gonna be between 10 psi's or 16 psi's, okay? Then step 3, inlet air manifold. With a diagnostic tool, check the measurements provided by the control unit. We need to compare these measurements, the boost air pressure and the barometric pressure, and the range of allowable values, 0.6 psi. We need to check the boost air pressure sensor, okay? So as you can see, for each step, there is very detailed information so that you know what you need to check that could be provoking the problem. In this case, that we are not able to complete the DPF region, okay? We're going to see another example. We're going to jump right now into Cummins. So in order to do that, we go back to the main screen, manual, manufacturers, and then Cummins. All right. This is going to be also an example related to the DPF region, but this time our truck has this Cummins engine, which is going to be a X15 series, and for some reason, the DPF regeneration that we want to launch doesn't want to start, okay? So first of all, we will go through the system selection. In this case, it's going to be X series, and then X15. We're going to be using this one, for example. All right. Sorry, this one. Let's go for this one. All right. So here you have the troubleshooting by symptoms. Okay. By the way, the troubleshooting by symptoms is one of the functionalities included into the Info Online module. As you know, the Info Online module is our technical information module. Okay, and you will have all the options here on the right, on the left. Sorry, and then you will see that this troubleshooting by symptoms, as well as these other options here, releases and procedures, vehicle technical data, and so on, they have a small icon, which is kind of a world, okay? So that means that you will be needing internet connection. So in this case, let's guess that we're working in the shop, so you will be okay with the Wi-Fi, but if you're working for some reason on the field, you will be needing the hotspot connection to your phone, for instance, okay? We'll need internet connection for this module, okay? So we'll click on troubleshooting by symptoms. All right, and here we have many possibilities, many possible symptoms. We're going to be using always these search bars on the top in order to find the problem that we have in our truck. As we said before, it was related to the DPF, so we will click on DPF, and here we have some options. Okay, if you remember, we said that we are not able to start the DPF regeneration. Okay, so this is going to be the one that we are looking for. And again, right now in a few seconds, we're going to see displayed the different steps that are going to help us to find the problem. Okay, so the first one is going to be checking if there are fault codes registered in the control unit, and if so, fix them first. So probably we'll have here the fault codes reading. There it is. All right, so we can check that, and then we can go through the step 2, check the soot level. Step 2.1, check the maintenance of the DOC catalyst. All right, so here we have the things that we need to inspect: soot level, deterioration, check for possible mechanical failures of the component. All right, so you can see how it should be looking like and how it shouldn't. All right, so here you have the link as well for this particular maintenance, for the DOC maintenance. Then step 2.2, check the maintenance of the DPF. All right. Again, you have the quick access to this maintenance. Step 3, 2.3, actually, particulate filter replacement. Okay. Not applicable, replace the DPF and perform the following action. So again, the links in every particular step, okay? And then step 2.4, carry out the stationary regeneration process, okay? So we will launch it, and then if the problem is not solved, okay, we'll go to the step number 3, okay, so which is this one. We can launch it from here. I will do it so you can see exactly how it looks like, okay? First of all, we need to select the connection type. Okay, so let's say that we're using our 9-pin connector. We will click on connect, but here you have other possibilities as well, just in case you're using a different connector, okay, with the instructions to connect. So once we have selected ours, we click on connect. The software is going to require the expert mode code. As you know, every time that we perform any changes on the behavior of the ECMs, on the ECUs, the software is going to ask you for this expert mode code. Okay, so we will introduce it, and then we will access to the process itself. So all the process in JALTEST, they have basically the same logic. At the beginning, you will find information about the procedure itself. Okay, so you are sure about what you are doing. You are not doing any mess, of course. Also, some like attention messages. All right. Here you have more detailed information about the process that we're about to carry out. Okay, you can see how, if we expand here, you can see all the different components of the SCR system, where they are, the names, and everything. All right, so you can understand it a little bit better. Also the temperatures, and this is going to be the first step, okay? If we go further, we'll go to the second one, which is going to be the initial conditions that we need to meet in order to start the process. In this case, the initial conditions are that the engine must be started at idle and the parking brake activated, okay? The gear shift in neutral position and the accelerator pedal released, okay? So once we have met all the initial conditions on the initial requirements, we will see that here we'll have the check marks in all of them. If there are some of them that are not met, then we will have the red bell, okay? So once we have everything on green, we're gonna start the process. All right. As you can see, this test is automatically controlled, so please wait until the process has finished. Okay, so here basically you can see all the different measurements during the procedure. You can see the state, the engine speed, soot content of the particulate filter after treatment fuel injector, and so on. So you can even look for some particular measure here with the search bar, or you can even click on the button here to show the graphic. Okay, here you can just select or unselect the ones that you want to visualize. All right, you can make it smaller, you can make it bigger, and you can check as well here the measurements. And then of course you can transfer all this information to the manual, to the diagnosis report. Okay, I'm gonna cancel it, or actually let's see if we can finish it. All right, actuation successfully completed. It is advisable to perform the action particulate filter status. Do not wait more than 1 hour after the last regeneration. Okay, so as you can see, all we need to do is to read the instructions on the software here and then follow the steps. There is no way to get lost. Okay, here during the execution, at least one graph has been saved. Okay, so basically it's asking us if we want to display it or not. If we press on yes, we will see the graphic. All right, and the results of the particulate filter regeneration. Okay, as you can see, and then you can play with the time. You can go back and forward. You can select and select so that you can see at any time how the different components and sensors were measuring. Okay, in case of any problem. Okay. There is, and then I'm going to show you a third example, okay, of troubleshooting by symptoms. So let's go back. So the logic is the same, okay. So there you have the more steps, okay. In some cases are going to be like shorter, in other cases longer, of course, because the causes of the problems could vary, and depending on the problem, we can have more or less possible causes, of course. And again, we'll go to the main screen here. And for this third example, I decided to choose not an engine so that you can see that the troubleshooting by symptoms is also available in other systems. So in this case, we're going to find the troubleshooting by symptom in the transmission, okay, in a transmission. So we'll go here and then we will select Allison transmission, okay. In this case, we're going to be working in a 3000, 4000 series of the 5th generation. And now the clutch pressure is low, okay. And again, we got no fault code and we have no clue about the reason of the problem, all right. So first of all, we will select our series, okay, and then we see that this is the 5th generation, is the one that we're gonna work, okay. So we select it, and then we have the troubleshooting by symptoms here. You can see, as we said before, on the manual diagnostics, here on the troubleshooting by symptoms, every step is the same. You will find always the information in the same places within the software. Okay, so once you do it once, 2 times, you will get it immediately. All right. So here the problem is going to be related to the clutch. So probably we will filter by clutch. All right. Right, so as I said before, the clutch pressure was low, okay, and we didn't have any fault code, and we didn't know what could be the reason of the problem or the origin of the problem. So here we have some possible causes. Okay, this is the same process. I'm not gonna go over through all them. Okay, but just to show you that is the same logic across the software. All right. So as you have seen, and in the same way as the manual diagnostics, we don't need to be actually connected to the vehicle to be able to troubleshoot the problem, which means that if we talk about road assistance, the troubleshooting by symptoms can be also a super helpful functionality as well. Okay. I'm going to change right now to the PowerPoint because we're already finishing. Okay, just 1 second. All right, there it is. Let me go over this one. Okay, so with this, guys, we have come to the end of the webinar actually. So thank you very much for joining. I really hope that you have been able to learn something new today and clarify some concepts and overall to find this information useful so that your repair activities become more efficient every day and help you to save time and money. All right, so thank you very much for joining. We're going to leave the chat available for a few minutes. All right, there you have our contact information. Okay, so as I was saying, we're going to leave the chat available for a few minutes, just in case you want to add something or to ask something else. Otherwise, you can always visit our website or write us at customer support at jaltest.com, or even you can reach out to us by phone, as you can see in the screen. Also, before leaving, let me tell you that we have prepared 2 super quick questions that you will find whenever you exit the webinar. So please, we will appreciate your answers and your sincerity over there. So thank you very much also to my colleagues Isidro and Bruno that they have been supporting me on the chat with the questions. And again, thank you everyone for watching and see you soon in more JALTEST webinars. Bye-bye.